Welcome to Bonehead Weekly. I'd love to say that we're here with Adrienne and we're going to interview her, but you know who's not here, Adrienne?
Who?
Dr. Jerkface Thomas.
How could you, James?
He actually has a PhD. He actually is a professor. He actually is Dr. Thomas. I was explaining to my 6-year-old tonight. I was like, oh no, Uncle James actually is a doctor. And he goes, like, he could be my doctor. I was like, no, he's not the helpful kind of doctor.
Ha!
I was waiting to tell that joke in front of him, but he's clearly not here. So,
Well, if we need another,
James,
if we need another co-host,
what are you going to
I'm
pull
sure
out?
I can find one for us.
What the hell is that?
It's my bunny.
That's a nice bunny.
He's an excellent conversationalist.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, because he doesn't talk back.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what you need.
Yep.
Yeah. I need I'm actually not quite sure what I need. I don't know that it's been diagnosed.
Oh, maybe Dr. James can help you with that.
I doubt it. He's not the helpful kind of doctor. Now, Adrienne,
Yes.
one of my dearest friends. Actually, you really are one of my favorite people. I say that a lot, but you actually really are one of my favorite people.
Likewise.
This year just full of shit. I am thinking.
Okay, don't hurt yourself.
2015. This is 8 years I've been doing this. Coming up.
Oh, wow. You about got tenure.
Yeah, 8 years.
Yeah.
8 long years because Scarefest gave me my start.
Awesome.
Well, I don't know. I think it's kind of cool.
I think it's kind of cool too.
I'd like to make it to a decade at least. Can you see? Make sure that I don't get, fired before the decade's out. I'd like to be able to say I did it for at least 10 years.
I'll try. I'll do my best, but look what I got to work with.
There's only 2 more years. There's only 2 more years.
And with you, it's like dog years. So
it's not like dog years. It's not. Where are we partying at this year? You're always busy working.
I know. I'm the lamest, right?
I never really party either. I did a little bit. I think last year I finally got to have a drink of a certain person who makes a certain kind of.
I know what you're talking about.
I think that either happened last year or the year before because I was never there that late.
Yep. That's
make it out in front of the Hyatt, and when everybody's the smoking and the whatnot, I never make it that late. And finally, I think last year I went back and did. And I actually got a sip of, can I say his first name?
Yeah.
Adam's Elixir.
Yeah, Adam's Elixir. That's a really great way of putting it.
Yeah. I saw the other day on social media,
I saw
the jars. So
the rainbow.
It is a rainbow.
It's beautiful.
I have a really bad story about me being drunk in West Virginia and moonshine and then eating ice cream.
something West Virginia, something moonshine. Yeah.
Ice cream.
Oh,
that's where I went wrong.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
That's the short version. So anyway, I'm happy to have you. You always show up every year to talk about the show, which is Scarefest, which is happening when in October?
October 20th through the 22nd.
20th through the 22nd, and we're sold out. You can't buy any more tickets, so we'll see you all next year.
Well, we are sold out of several things. Our VIP packages are definitely a thing of the past. Our weekend plus packages are gone. Weekend passes are soon to be gone. Very, very near and dear to selling out of weekend passes. And then we've actually got Saturday passes marked as limited because we got a little hot water with the fire marshal last year. We had to slow down admitting people on Saturday.
Really?
Yeah, we did, but this year we've done things a little bit differently. We moved some things around and we rented some extra square footage. So now that we've got the second floor and you can host the panels and a proper panel room with great acoustics and lighting and your very own microphones, it is going to be wonderful. So now that we have the extra square footage, we can have some more people come into the show.
So Adrienne was actually being nice to me. Oh, look, Dr. Jerkface showed up. Don't you say a word. I am talking.
How pretentious. It literally even says PhD in his Zoom name.
Yeah,
I literally just
higher and deeper.
I just literally finished teaching. I haven't changed it yet. I can change it. Here, let me see if I can change it now.
Oh, okay.
What's it going to say?
Wait, you were teaching from there and you were still late?
Yeah, well, I had to wait till the video digitized, and then Joe sent me a link, which I took a shot of, where it just literally says location Zoom and there's no Zoom link.
Well, that's just a white screen.
It
that's all
didn't
we can
show,
see.
but
Thank
yeah.
you, Adrienne, for defending me because
Oh, yeah,
he
you
was
need
able.
defense.
Well, one of you was able to get on there from the link.
It didn't come through.
I was actually a minute early. I was here at 9:59.
Yeah,
I was not. Yeah, sorry.
Well, hold on. We're going to get back to it. So Adrienne was giving me a compliment earlier. Well, she was being very sweet. She was like, "You never bother me. You never ask me for too much." And I try not to ask for a lot, but I know I ask for things from time to time. But I swear to God, one of the worst experiences of moderating was that fucking stage out in front of that crowd with the damn drunks ordering their Pepsis and their vodkas next to me as I'm trying to carry on, and people just walking up eating popcorn and going, "What's going on?"
Yeah, sounds about right.
I mean, it just.
Hey, listen, you survived it. You got that experience under your belt and you're a better person. I say that really probably built up some fortitude. If I had to label it, you probably got some genuine mental fortitude built up from that experience.
F words built up. I agree with you. And then there's some people who are no longer associated with the show who didn't even bother to go get the guests for the big panel at the end of the day on Saturday.
That sounds about right.
That's also a true story. But anyway, we won't sit here and reminisce about that because we're going to have the second floor at Scarefest. You hear that, James?
Yeah, second floor. That's above the first floor.
Yes, but it's below the third floor, which the third floor is technically where the convention happens. It's jacked up like a football bat.
Agreed.
But you have to enter in from High Street. If you don't know the logistics of the geography of this, go ahead and just show up and buy your ticket because we still have tickets for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, correct?
We do. Yes, we do right now have single day passes for all 3 days. Weekend passes are very close to getting sold out and be making some announcements about that probably this coming week. And if you want a Saturday pass and you don't want to we're going to try not to turn people away at the door, but it's not something we can guarantee. So when we put the Saturday tickets on sale this year, we marked them as limited. Because they are, and there is a possibility they'll sell out. It is not an unlimited amount of folks we can have in there. The fire marshal is a party pooper.
Adrienne Elder, can we talk about something?
Of course.
Do you know what is so amazing and fantastic?
What?
Is that Scarefest is probably going to sell out Saturday.
I know. It's pretty awesome.
Can you see my face? And
yes.
Can you see that I'm not faking it?
Yeah.
I always say, and I've said it so many times, I have watched, I haven't said it this way, but it's James, this is much more James waxing philosophically using metaphors, but it is kind of like watching the Phoenix rise.
Sure.
From about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, it's literally.
And I am so proud of you all for it.
Scarefest has officially survived mud, blood, famine, and
bad
fire and plague.
And bad plague.
Yeah. Intentionally bad management at that.
Well, that's neither here nor there.
James, how many drinks do you have?
I have a drinking problem.
Not enough.
I fixed my name.
Okay, that's way better.
Yes,
really
it's also way more accurate, I feel.
I really think you should have put Dr. Despair instead of Mr. Despair. I don't.
No. I don't have a doctorate in despair. I'm not there yet. I'm getting closer. I'm getting there.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy, don't worry.
I was going to say you keep logging hours with this guy, and you're going to get there in no time. You will have all the hours that you need under your belt for that certification.
This is a higher ed joke. Oh, don't worry, buddy. It will be terminal.
It's
that degree in despair is terminal.
Yeah, no, it doesn't quit. I love my job. It's a good time, but I tell you know what's usually much more engaging overall is Scarefest. Y'all ever been to Scarefest?
I have. I've been to all of them. The only two people out of this room who've been to all of them are Adrienne and I.
Yeah, I was about to say because when I took my job, I missed two. I missed two since I've been in Mississippi.
Yeah, it got so a lot of people when I started, I got really close with Patty, who, a lot of people know, but for those who don't, Patty Starr was the founder of Scarefest. And I got really close with Patty and I helped her out a lot. But when I left the law firm, I actually started working for a manufacturing company building cars. It's a pretty big one. So people might have heard of it, in Georgetown. And when you start there, as a temp, you only get 1 day off for your first 6 weeks. And then from 6 weeks to 3 months, you get another day off. And then from 6 months to 12 months, you get 3. So for the first 12 months that you work there, you only get 5 days off. That is anything. That's a PTO, that's an emergency, doctor appointment, only 5 days. And I started in March and Scarefest wasn't until September. So I had 6 months. I didn't take a single day off because I needed to take off Friday and Monday for Scarefest. And I had to take off half of Thursday night because I worked, second, third shift kind of hours. So yeah, I know the struggle. I didn't think I was going to make the 2011 show, 2012 show. That's what it was, the 2012. Yeah. So yeah, 2012 was rough for me because I had to work all week and then do Scarefest all weekend and then go straight back to the factory as soon as I was done with Scarefest. But yeah, the job is pretty important for some of us. So
yeah, I enjoy eating. It's one of my favorite things, it turns out.
Yeah, like employer interviewing. Why would you like this job? Well, I prefer not starving to death.
Yeah.
You're more important than me, and you're more important that you've worked all of them, but I have been to all of them. Who is somebody else who's been to every one of them? Other than
Lori Baker.
Baker.
Lori is our volunteer coordinator, and she also does a lot for Kids Day. She does a lot for Scarefest Inc. I mean, she's involved in a lot of things. The biggest contribution that she does like all year round is she coordinates all of our volunteers, which is a huge task. And Lori actually was at a Waffle House or a Denny's or an IHOP when the idea for Scarefest was born. I was at the first volunteer meeting, but Lori was actually there at conception. So we call her patient zero.
Yeah. I knew there was another one. Is there real quick, James, is there anybody else who's worked all of them?
Adam Johnson.
Okay.
And Kim Hodge has been there, all 15. I've got a list. There are a few that are 13, 14, when they found out about it, and they've been there ever since. But I think the only 15s, and I apologize if I'm forgetting somebody, but I think it's me, Lori, Adam, and Kim. I think I think that's right.
Yeah. Now I just have the distinction of being at all 15 of them. I used to have to pay like a sucker. Now, James.
No, we need those suckers. Don't insult the suckers.
Suckers are delicious.
Yeah. You mentioned something in passing, and if you all have already talked about this, I realized I was tardy to the party, so Joe will just edit this part out because I love to make him edit stuff out. You mentioned, by the way, though, the Kids Day.
Yeah.
Have you all talked about Kids Day and what was part of that? Because I think that's one of the things that I love is that you have this horror convention.
Yes.
With creepy stuff. Well, but it's also like there's a photo that Joe knows about where my child, when she was very little, is petting the puppy that was the mobile critter.
Yes, Karen.
And so I just want to bring that up because can you tell us a little bit about what we can expect to see during Kids Day this year? Just so people, if they're thinking about, can I bring my kids? Let's tell them what they can see when they bring their kids.
Yeah, perfect. So actually just got an email about this about an hour ago, and someone was saying, I've been to Scarefest, it's been a few years, but now I've got my little ones and I don't know, is it family friendly? And, one of the things that I really have been trying to get out there, because there's a lot of misconceptions that we're like a haunted house or that our purpose is to scare people. And, there may be some pretty creepy things there. There might be some scary things. But I do encourage everybody, bring the family. Kids 12 and under are free all weekend. So, it's a good chance to get them in and see some cool things. But Sunday specifically, we will have some free classes that the kids can go to. So we've got like a cosplay prosthetics classes that are going on Friday, Saturday.
I thought you said prostate. I'm so sorry. Keep going.
Prosthetics.
Prostate.
the folks that are doing that class, Rob Whalen, he's going to put some kits together for kids. So we'll have a free cosplay prosthetics class for kids on Sunday. And then we have a cookie decorating class that's being hosted by Fright Bites on Friday. And she's going to do a kids class on Sunday. And that will also be free, but just as long as the supplies hold up, because, you know, they get to decorate a cookie and then they get to eat it. So that's pretty cool. Those are the classes that we've got. And then as far as contests go, we'll have a kids costume contest, and we will have a scream contest. And
I was going to ask about that because that was my eldest favorite, and she's now aged out. She's no longer eligible, but she that was her favorite thing last year. She was like, I just get to go over there and scream. And I was like, yeah, please do go over there. Scream.
We should have, you know, just the regular, like, adult all ages on Friday and Saturday. So as soon as we get the times posted for those, she is welcome to join that one. That would be awesome. And then, so one of the coolest things about Kids Day is when you come in the doors, we have a table set up where we have some little gift bags for the kids, and we'll try to put like some old toys and stuff like that in there. But the main purpose for the gift bags is that the vendors on the con floor, any vendor that has a red balloon displayed is participating in trick or treat. So the kids can go up and they can trick or treat at all of the individual vendor booths that have the red balloon. So that's a pretty fun interactive thing. We also have a dance troupe that's going to come in and teach the Wednesday dance from the new Wednesday show. So that should be a lot of fun. We did Thriller last year and it was cute.
So James has his story. Mine is really quick. My kid placed third 2 years ago and did it again last year, added some stuff to his costume, and we've already been designing and working on what his because it's 2 different costumes.
Yeah.
What he's actually going of his convention costume and his actual Halloween costume are 2 different things. I'm not allowed to tell the audience what it's going to be for Scarefest for it, but he has thought a lot of it, and he thinks that there's not a lot of other kids are going to do this one.
Okay, we can't be giving out his trade secrets now.
Can't be giving out his trade secrets. So I'm just saying it's a good time, and he loved the trick-or-treating with it as well.
Yeah, it also, we're going to have some tables set up for some little like arts and crafts type things, maybe some color by numbers. There might be some kits there that they can put together, maybe some like puppets they can decorate. We're fielding some ideas for some cool crafts that they can do that won't be too time consuming, but also, you know, it'll be something fun for them to kind of get some hands-on building or creating something there at the show. So all kinds. It's hard to pack a bunch of stuff into 6 hours, but we have done our best. So come all weekend and Sunday, expect to spend all your time catering to your kids.
Absolutely. So what are some of the other big events that we've got going on this year? Because we need all the tea. What is different? What is new? What is the same? I mean, there's a podcast live Friday night at 5:00 that
there is. Yes. So most importantly, we should start there.
Really shouldn't start there, but we'll just say that maybe the Boneheads will be doing a live show Friday at 5 p.m. Come on down. 5 p.m. Scarefest.
5 p.m.
We don't have the celebrity yet.
Yes. I've got some thoughts on that, but
that's okay.
Yeah. So this year, we have a lot of new stuff this year. Unfortunately, some of our things are already sold out. On Thursday, we're starting off the weekend pretty early with a bourbon tasting event that is sold out. We do have a free launch party horror trivia event going on at Lex Live at 7:00. Team signups are at 6:30. It is a team thing. You don't have to have a team, but it would be beneficial.
Adrienne, can James and I talk about this real quick?
Of course.
How much fun was that last year with Mick Strawn?
Oh, it was, the best part about it is
it kicked my ass, kicked all of our asses, because Mick couldn't remember the fucking year of the movie he was the production designer on.
Which I was about to say, it's the best part. If you think that you're going to have somebody that works on a film and they're going to help you out, let me tell you from our experience, not going to happen.
No, it wasn't helpful.
Now,
He put his hand down my shirt, but other than that,
will Mick sit there and scream random things like, "I don't remember. I haven't worked on the next gig. I went on."
Let's talk about the 6 foot back of the trailer where the cocaine was.
Yeah, like all of those stories, he
got quiet like that didn't happen.
he remembers
4 foot.
4 foot. Yeah, you get spacers, Joe. Now your production designer has to know that. Anyway,
6 feet. Adrienne, we're not making this up.
But yeah, no, he can tell you all of that, and he can tell you what he did on Break Into Electric Boogaloo and his use of trees. But no, can't remember the movies that he worked on, when they came out.
Or operating prosthetic penises for Boogie Nights. He can tell you about that, but he couldn't tell you about the year Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. And then I'm a dumbass because I got the year wrong too. But I think RA was also at that place and also got it wrong.
Yeah.
Is it 1983?
Oh God, no, you're not even close.
For the third one? 93. No, hold on. It was no. Leatherface 3 came out at the same time that Dances with Wolves was in production. I know that because RA went to pick up his Leatherface mask from the company that Greg Nicotero owned at the time. And when he went to the studio to pick it up, they were working on the bodies of the buffalo from that scene in Dances with Wolves.
Yep.
97?
No, it's like 90, 91. 89, it's 89, 90, 91. I can't tell you, but it's within that 2 year. It's within that 2 year, and I still don't remember. I should always remember it. But what I'm trying to say is,
it was 1990.
So what I'd like to say,
that's the year I was born.
Oh my God, I'm so old. So what I'd like to say is that horror trivia, we had an absolute effing blast last year, and I screamed obscenities at Jake Gobo for what, 2 hours, James? Like, we're going to kick your ass, sit down, you bald son of a bitch. Nobody cares about you. And the crowd
all the time as we lost,
thinking that I was being awful to this piece of crap person. I'm joking. I like Jake. That's the reason why I'm doing this. And then he kicked. I mean, he literally slaughtered us.
Oh, dude, that's the thing. Like Brandon can tell you horror facts. Like it's so impressive. I'm horrible with dates. I can't even tell you like anything that happened at any point in time at Scarefest with any sort of like structure. Time is an illusion. If I were to go to horror trivia and I got one thing correct, I would be proud of myself, and that's not an exaggeration. I'm horrible with trivia, absolutely horrible. I can remember the most random crap ever. And actually, I have a game of old school Trivial Pursuit here somewhere. And when we were cleaning out my mom's house, going through her things, I picked a random card, and it was like, what player broke a record in this 100-point game back in 1968 or something like that. And I was like, Wilt Chamberlain. And then like I turned it over and I was like, holy crap, I got that right. And I put the card back and I was like, I'm the Trivial Pursuit master. But anyway, I'm really terrible with trivia, and it is a blast. I've never ever made it to one. During that time on Thursday evening is when we are just burning the midnight oil for sure, as far as trying to get all the last minute preparations done, logistics, all of that. But I'm so glad that everyone has such a great time, and I love talking about that event. So I'm glad that you all, and I hope there is a rematch and that you get slaughtered again, and I hope you keep up the trash talk and have more great stories for this time next year.
I have every intention of calling him every name I can think of. Unless there's some odd reason I'm not able to make it, have every intention of being awful to him.
Awesome.
Intention. So Thursday night trivia. What we got after that?
Okay, so after trivia is another sold out ticketed event. That's going to be the Greg Nicotero private dinner at Nick and Norman's. That's Thursday at 8:30. That's when check-in starts, 9:00 for the dinner event. And the restaurants actually close during that time. But if you're coming into town earlier and you want to check out the restaurant, you can. It will be open the rest of the weekend. So feel free to check it out. But unfortunately that is sold out. I think we sold out of that in like 4 days. So really cool chance there to to dine with Greg Nicotero at his own restaurant.
That's sold. So what, you guys actually opened it back up and sold more seats, right?
We did. So the very first conversation I had with his team was that we were going to get half of the restaurant, and we were looking at maybe being able to have 30 seats or something like that.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, that's cool. I went ahead and got everything set up, and then he talked to the manager, and they were like, no, we're going to close the whole restaurant. So, we can make this a 60-seat event. And I was like, awesome. So we put the tickets up on sale, and that was Friday at like 10:30 is when the tickets went on sale. And by Tuesday night, they're gone.
Yeah.
So I talked to him, and he talked to the management staff, and they said, that was pretty conservative estimate, and that we could get 70 people. So we added 10 more seats, and I think about a day they were gone.
That's amazing.
And by the way, if you're listening to this and haven't been there, and you obviously it's sold out and you can't go some other time. It's worth it just for the images on the wall.
Yeah.
Just for if you're a Walking Dead fan,
I still haven't been.
Oh, I went. I got invited to something there a while back, and I went. But it's
good for you, Buttercup.
Yeah,
I didn't get invited.
I don't get invited. I don't get invited many places. I don't know why.
Well, you got invited to one more place than me.
That's not true. You've been invited to all sorts of asylums and.
They didn't invite. When they come to your house and pack you away, it is not an invite.
According to that engraved court order you got, it was an invite. You had the option to fight. But anyway, but you should totally check out Nick and Norman's. I had a good time.
Yeah, it was awesome. I went to dinner there with RA and Brandon and Nicole. And that's when RA was telling me about, his work on Texas Chainsaw 3, getting the mask, the whole thing about Dances with Wolves. I am shocked that Dances with Wolves was that early also, because I really thought it was like mid-90s, late to mid-90s. I didn't realize that.
No, you are a babe.
I've been in love with Kevin Costner for a really long time.
That and Dead Buffaloes.
Yeah.
You got a really weird kink.
Yeah, no kink shaming.
All right, Friday.
Yep, what's next? Friday. Oh, goodness. All right, Friday. We are doing things a little bit differently this year with Friday. We will be opening up the pre-function area of the show where the ticket office and will call is. We will be opening that. Actually, let me back up. We're going to open up for a few hours on Thursday this year. That's the change. Thursday, the ticket office will be open from noon to 5. So you can pick up your regular passes, VIP check-in, all that good stuff from noon to 5, and then still have plenty of time to go to any of the ticketed events you might have or the horror trivia. So on Friday, we will be opening up Will Call at noon, and the black carpet event starts at 3. That is when the doors open for Weekend Plus and VIP passes. So they can go ahead and go in to the exhibit hall starting at 3 p.m. General admission is at 4 o'clock. And, oh man, what else? Our film festival is going to be starting. We will have speakers and panels starting at 5 o'clock. Bonehead Weekly is going to kick us off in our panel room at 5 before we work them like dogs all weekend.
I would like to be worked like a borrowed mule, please.
Then we've also got Friday night. We have 2 events going on. One of them is Scarefest at Lex Live. That starts at 9 o'clock. It's free to anybody that wants to come over. It'll be probably pretty packed over there. And then we also have Horror Drag Theater at 9 o'clock. That's at the convention center. It's ticketed. It's $10 for a ticket. We had to pay to rent the rooms. So I'm trying to cover some costs there. And we're going to be doing some donations for some charities on that. Still trying to figure out the final details with that one. And then after those events, well, probably while they're still going on, we will have spooky story soiree going on in our, technically it's like the food court area. There's a really cool room on the second floor called Club B.
Yeah.
And that's where our food concepts will be. we will be having a celebrity event in there, and that's free to the public. They'll be doing some readings and stuff
I'm
like
excited about that. I that's one I'm on. I'm Team Nicole on that one. I'm actually I don't know how many people will show up, and I'm really excited about it. I think it's kind
absolutely. It should be fun. We've got some really cool people doing some readings. Amanda Day is hosting that event. Beatrice Buckley will be there. Brian Bremer, I believe, is signed up for that. And then I don't know if we've confirmed everybody else, but I think we'll have some sleepaway camp people there doing some readings. It'll be a good time.
A friend of the show and friend of James's and I's, Laurel Hightower, has been working with them, and Laurel is just the best. So
awesome.
She's an author. She's
okay,
a
cool.
local writer.
Oh, right. Is she
the writes one words and whatnot?
Is she the one that is getting the pieces together?
Yeah, that's Laurel.
Okay.
Laurel's been on the show many times. She was actually at my house the other day. That's because she just wanted child support.
That makes sense. That's the only reason I come to your house.
The cool thing, yeah. Well, they don't know I'm shooting blanks. The cool thing is about Laurel is that she's an actual published author who's local, and I love.
Awesome.
She's a horror author, by the way. Her boy and mine are almost the same age, and when he calls her a horror author, I still laugh.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Because I think she's a horror author as well. So,
but now she's been nominated for awards as well. I mean, she does what she does really well, and
but it wasn't for the writing.
I mean, give credit where it's due for all things, Chip.
I need to tell her to listen to this shit later.
But she has a new book coming out later this year, right? Too. Yep. I mean, she does her show, so give her a shout out as well. But yes, absolutely. No, that's exciting. I'm all for storytelling. I like stories. They distract me from the despair.
Well, that's right. I didn't know if you knew that or not. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's a really great idea, and I'm curious to see how many people show up, because I think it's neat. I think it's nifty having these horror authors be able to not only submit their work, but then have somebody from the Terror Picture literally read it to them, everybody. So it's neat and perform it. All right. Hello.
Sorry, I'm trying to put my phone on Do Not Disturb.
Who is texting you with that? Is that your boo?
That is my Pandora. Just recently, started randomly playing. No, I literally opened my phone to put it on Do Not Disturb because Brandon is texting me about flights and budgeting, and I don't know.
Tell him it's me. Can't you tell him it's me and leave?
He knows what I'm doing right now, because I'd call him at 9:45, and I was like, "Hey, you were supposed to call me, and I got to do this show in 15 minutes. I need you to send me this stuff."
Yeah,
but we got it all taken care of. It's going to work out.
He does.
So where were we? Friday.
I think you're almost finished up. Or did we miss anything?
I think so the only other thing that will be going on around that time is we will be still having some films going on. Also on the second floor of the convention center, we'll have the film festival happening right down the hall. So those, I think we're going all the way up through, I think we're starting at midnight, starting one at midnight. So maybe pretty late on some of the film festival stuff. And then Saturday, Saturday, we are opening the ticket office at 9 a.m. So the pre-function area will be open at 9. People can come in. Saturday is going to be busy. So if you have purchased photo ops for Saturday, you need to be watching for that photo op schedule to come out, and make sure you are in line early if you have an early photo op. Right. We'll be trying to get people in as quick as possible, but it's process and it does take some time. So we'll be opening the doors for Weekend Plus passes and VIP ticket holders at 10 a.m. on Saturday. General admissions in at 11. And we've got our panels and speakers starting at noon. We've got the film festival playing all day. And then on Saturday evening, we have the VIP party starting at 9 o'clock. But right before that, at 8 p.m., we have a ticketed event that's not sold out. So there is still some things you can get tickets for. We have Talk Scary to Me live with Danielle Harris and Scout Taylor Compton at 8 o'clock at the convention center on the second floor. Tickets are still on sale for that.
I've actually met Scout twice, and I don't know about other experiences, but as I've interviewed her and then I met her as a fan. As a fan, she's one of the nicest people I've ever actually paid for an autograph for, but it was many, many, many years ago.
Awesome.
Yeah, she was really nice. She was.
My dad. Oh, dude. Have you met my dad before, Joe? Have you met my parents?
You introduced me to them last year on the floor briefly. They were there
Okay.
Sunday. Do you remember this?
Yes, I do. I thought so. I wanted to make sure. So, but it was just quick.
As my
So,
if I recall that right? It was on the floor.
yeah.
And it was briefly, maybe for a few minutes.
Yep. And my dad was wearing a cowboy hat.
I don't remember what he was wearing.
Yeah.
He
Well,
looked
he was
sexy.
probably one of the only people at the convention that was wearing a cowboy hat. So I actually saw him from across the room and I screamed at Adam. And I was like, Adam. And he froze and he's like, what? And I said, get that guy. And he turned around all fast. And I was like, the guy in the cowboy hat, get him. And he was like, I was like, it's my dad. So that's how I knew my parents were there last year. It was pretty cool. But so my dad calls me, I would say 5 times a week about Scarefest. He calls me pretty much every day, but at least 5 times a week, I will get a call and he will have some idea about Scarefest or needs to tell me something about Scarefest. And it's wonderful because like, this isn't like a great photo. It's kind of dark, but like, he owns a structural steel company. He raises cattle. Like if you see him, he looks pretty out of place at Scarefest.
Yeah.
But he sent me a picture the other night of him in his cowboy hat with his Wranglers and belt buckle wearing a Scarefest weekend t-shirt at a football game. And he'll just, so today he calls and he says, you know how I've been going around on TikTok and I've been watching all these Scarefest TikToks and commenting on all of them. And I was like, yeah. And he said, well, I come across the video the other day. I think I told you about it. It's these 2 girls and they were all excited about coming to Scarefest. And I said, yeah. And he's like, well, I guess I need to start watching what I say to people. And I was like, okay, please continue. So he said he got on there and on their video, he's like, heck yeah, let's party. That's innocent enough. And then he said he came across either that video or another one or something that they'd done. And he commented on it. And we have the same last name. So he was like, I guess they either remembered me or they knew who I was. But it turns out the video he was talking about through a lot of like context clues, it's Danielle and Scout. And he was like, I think they're going to actually be guests at your show. And I was like, yeah, I know you're talking about. I was like, and I described them and he was like, yeah. And I was like, both real pretty, like, real upbeat. He said, yeah, that's them. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, he's like, oh, so they're movie stars. And I was like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, just the best, most supportive man on the planet. And just always out there, like going 100% for Scarefest to support us. And I just thought that just tickled the crap out of me because he was talking about Scout and how upbeat and happy she seemed, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
That's awesome. My dad doesn't even really know what I do, so congratulations. Let's bring it down, James.
Let me one up you, Joe. My dad's dead.
Yeah, sorry.
See, Mr. Despair.
Well, we're also happy for you, Adrienne Elder, that you're so loved and admired, and that your parents actually care, or your parent. Oh,
well, I mean, in all fairness, the best part about that is nobody would enjoy me making those jokes more than my father. Like he would have been like, "No, use it to your advantage. If that's what you got, swing for the fences."
Yeah, hold on, real quick.
Oh.
My mom went to hold on, because this connects. My mom went to a small Comic-Con at the Hazard Library and told me about it. And it's like, and they had some stuff and some toy. I was like, you're literally calling me up, telling me what they have at a convention. Well, yeah, that is the disconnect, James.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of what they have at the convention, and you've been talking about events, but I do want to say, because I will admit, I've been glancing over at it because I appreciate, and maybe this was done last year and I'm just old and easily distracted, but I appreciate the fact that if you go to the Scarefest website, you have your tickets, your guests, celeb photo ops, but you have that lovely button that says vendors, and it takes you to the map.
Yes.
And you can click on the booths and find out who's going to be at what booths and what they're selling.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you've never done a con before, if you're somehow watching this, what's this Scarefest these kids are talking about? The kids today. No, but half the fun of a convention to me is the vendors. I don't care what type of convention it is.
Yeah.
Because there's always that thing I see on, I didn't know I needed that in my life.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have to leave here with that.
Yeah.
And I look around my office and yeah, exactly. I look around my office at the stuff that I have that I've picked up at conventions, Scarefest being some of it.
Yep.
And it's just you're sitting in your office, you're working, you've got all this stuff going on. Maybe you're having a bad day, and I can look over my shoulder and be like, "Oh, maybe it's not so bad. Maybe today's the day."
Exactly.
And the good thing about Scarefest is there's new vendors every year, but you also see those vendors that come back, and you kind of form a connection with them. Oh,
Yeah.
you're back. So I just want to say if you're coming, take some time to pregame your vendors and see what's out there, because
Yeah.
I walk the floor to look at vendors all the time, because yes, I want to see the celebrities, I want to meet the authors, I want to do all of that stuff. But there's some sheer joy in discovering the stuff that vendors bring to these conventions that you're not going to find anywhere else.
Yes. And, to that, and I don't want to be discouraging, because, I want everybody to like come and see everything, but there's no possible way that you could look at everything that everyone has everywhere. Like, if you just walk by and you glance over what's in the booths, then you'll make it through. But to stop and look, a lot of the artists have books with their prints, or they'll have milk crates where all the prints are stacked up.
Yeah.
There is that just reminded me of this is the most random thing. It is weird how my brain works. I went to a convention down in outside of Knoxville. It was in Alcoa, FrankenCon, a few months ago. And actually, my grandmother was out of town, and I told her I would drive her RAV4 while she was gone. She was going to be gone for several months. So I drove her RAV4. I brought it back. While I was there, I bought prints, and I had sat them in the back seat of the RAV, and I took her RAV back and got my car, and they're still there. Those prints are still in her back seat. And I just remembered that.
And your grandmother's never returned because she was just mysteriously away for a few months, and you're still driving the RAV4, and we all know what happened.
That's right. Exactly. But no, she did come back, and I actually have to go to her house this week. But anyway, I've got to they're super cool. They're like, they look like it's pinup style, and they're wearing like these really beautiful like prom dresses, but they're like horribly disfigured zombies.
Yeah.
And I've got these big prints of them. So anyway, yeah, there are those stand-ups, like I was saying before I went down the rabbit hole there. To look through everything is just not possible. There's just so much cool stuff. So what I like to do, and last year I didn't even get a chance to shop, so that was a bummer. But when I go to conventions, is I like to go through and make a quick pass, and then note the booth number if I want to come back and really look at something and try to make it through everywhere, and then hit the spots that I thought looked really cool. But the vendor floor map is interactive, and there's actually a way that you can go on there and sort by list. So if there's a specific vendor that you want to know where they are, it will pull up an alphabetized list on the side. You click on their name, and it will highlight the booth, and you can find where they are that way. So it's pretty cool, cool feature that we've got.
I get that all the time too, because the only way I get to shop is if I'm staying. So when and that's not to talk about, but when in Huntington, I always get to look around, and it's because I'm staying there, and there's more time, and I don't have the kid. That's the only time I get. So people ask me about it. It's like, I don't know that I ever even make it up and down every aisle of Scarefest, because by the time we start with the panels, and then when I have time is when the show's done.
Yep.
At night. And then we have to do something else. I'm not complaining. I love my gig. But it's the same thing every year at Comic-Con. I'm like, it's right around my birthday. I'm going to take some money and buy myself something pretty. Never do. Never do.
Last year I bought one. Oh, go ahead, James.
Well, I was going to say, and one of the things I do want to say about the vendors at Scarefest that they've had from the very beginning I really appreciate the fact because I like a lot of old school horror movies, Vincent Price, Boris
Yeah.
Karloff, and they still always have that stuff. It doesn't matter who the guest is. So, because Joel Robinson, who has been doing stuff for Scarefest forever, speaking of spending, I could stand at his table and just look at his stuff for hours because it's
Yes.
so. I've got all his Vincent Price stuff. I even have the shirt. I have all of that stuff, and that's one of the things I do appreciate about Scarefest as well is if you've never been, folks, you do need to go because I don't care what your horror you want Lon Chaney, silent phantom, you're going to find something there. It's
Yes.
going to be there. Now you're going to have to, as we've been discussing, look through a lot of
You're
aisles
gonna have
and
to
do all
look.
that stuff, but you're also going to find a bunch of different stuff. So again, I just wanted to give some credit to Scarefest for the vendors that they bring in because I say this knowing I'm going to lose money, but it's just cool to see what all
Well, I
comes out.
agree. Absolutely. I put out a call this year on our fans page, Scarefest Weekend Fans on Facebook. And I was like, vendors, you need to post what you've got. And then, we've got some folks that come to the show every year, like Jake is a good example.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to have to pick out some things that I want. And then I'm going to have to give people money to go to the vendor booths and get me things because last year, before the show, I found this really cool bracelet that I wanted from a vendor. I told them about it. They put it on hold for me. And then Sunday, I went at 5:10, 10 minutes after the show floor closed, to get my bracelet because that was the first time I'd had an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the only thing I bought all weekend. I put it in my fanny pack because I was sporting fanny pack. And when I made it back to the hotel that night, it was not there. It fell out. So my bracelet ended up somewhere else, and I hope someone is enjoying it because it was super cool. It was one of those chain link bracelets, and it had the ring on it, so it like connected like your ring to your bracelet, and it had a little bat. It's super cool. But anyway,
only James and I had. I just wish we were like, if only we had seen it.
And wearing it, yeah,
that would be amazing.
I know.
I mean, and the best hope that I could have is that someone found it and is actually getting to use it. I would love that. I wouldn't even be mad. I just hope it didn't get, end up in the trash because the convention center swept it up and threw it away.
Right.
So if you found my bat bracelet, please tell me and you can keep it, but just, let me know that it actually made it to a home.
Well, so not to rush us, but we have been going for about an hour. So what is there anything else we need to talk about? Any of the other events that we haven't mentioned? We talked all day about all the stuff Saturday.
Yes,
we haven't even got to the big celebrities yet. I mean, you want to know who I'm really excited about?
Tell me.
Although I doubt that he'll see this. He may very well be batshit nuts. I hope so. It's Richard Dreyfuss.
Oh yeah. I hope so too.
I hope so.
Well, and
Google him and Bill Maher and the way he sits in the chair on Bill Maher's podcast.
Okay.
When we're done, Richard Dreyfuss, Bill Maher. It is unique.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I will definitely check it out.
Who are you looking forward to?
James, who are you looking forward to?
Me, honestly, the one that it's not horror related. I would like about 2 minutes just to look at David Arquette and say, hey, buddy, let's talk about the Gray Zone. That is one of the most depressing Holocaust films ever made. And all I can think is, you made Eight-Legged Freaks.
Yeah.
And then what I'm going to do? I'm going to get with Harvey Keitel. Harvey Keitel is going to play the leader of a concentration camp. And I'm going to play with Steve Buscemi, one of the inmates of this, and it's going to literally, the end of that movie is David Arquette, and I'm forgetting the other actor's name, side by side. And there's a German soldier walking down the line, shooting people in the back of the head, heading toward them to kill them. And
don't tell me anymore because I haven't seen it and I want to watch it.
Oh, it is a phenomenal film. But it is honestly one of the things, like, I finished that film and I like David Arquette in comedies and stuff. And I like some of the more eccentric things he did, like the Gipper, or the Tripper. I'm sorry, the Tripper. But then I watched that movie and honestly, it went off and I was like, I may need counseling. I may need it's a beautiful, tragic film, and I that's what. So when I saw David Arquette, everybody else was like, "Oh, Scream!" and blah. I'm like, "No, no, I just need 2 minutes to say, hey, buddy, I need you to walk me through the process of making the gray zone. Just give me 2 minutes. Speak quickly. I'm pretty sure I may be the only one that shows up and ask him about it. But if you haven't seen it, watch it.
It's on Amazon Prime Video, which I don't have, but I may look into getting because I want to watch it.
Okay. You can borrow my account. I want to talk to him about and I don't actually, he's not doing a panel, I don't think, but I'd like to talk to him about Riding the Bullet, which is
that's another good one. Yeah.
Which is a Mick Garris film. I wish we get Mick Garris. I need to talk to Brandon about I need to talk to you and Brandon about that. Because
that's for free. And that's the other thing I was going to say real quick is I love horror, but before I got into horror, I was huge into science fiction. And one of the things that I love about Scarefest is I'm a Star Trek nerd, and there's always Star Trek guests there. If Kane Hodder shows up, as he always does, thank goodness. But I mean, if you're a Star Trek fan, Kane Hodder can tell you about doing stunts on Star Trek. So whatever your nerddom is, even if it's not horror, check the cast list.
Yep.
You're going to find somebody that did something that you loved outside of horror. David Arquette would be an example, actually, of that. Of people that did other things, and it's just, it's everywhere. So I have went and got, I think, I'm looking at my wall of Star Trek stuff. I think I have gotten about 6 or 7 signatures. I've been to Star Trek conventions, but I've gotten 6 or 7 signatures of Star Trek people who did stuff on Star Trek at Scarefest that I never got at Star Trek conventions, because they do horror conventions, they don't do Star Trek conventions, and it's worked out really well for me. So
that's awesome.
My nerddom moment is, again, if you're listening to this and you're on the fence about going to Scarefest, whatever your freak flag is,
your proclivities,
you will find a connection to it at Scarefest, because again, I've gotten so many autographs for my Star Trek collection at Scarefest.
It's funny that you say that, because like one of the I've got 2 lead-ins for that. One of them is our newest guest announcement, Alexandra Breckenridge.
Yeah.
She was in American Horror Story. She was in The Walking Dead. But you have no clue how many middle-aged men have freaked out and said Virgin River is one of my guilty pleasure shows. I love watching it. And where I work from home, and a lot of times I can't fully focus on what I'm watching, I'll just, turn on a show. If it's got a lot of seasons, even better. And I kept getting pop-ups for Virgin River. This was a few months ago.
I don't even know.
I am horrible with faces. Tom Hardy played my favorite character in 4 different movies. Well, 3 movies and a TV show. And I had no idea it was the same person. No clue. Not a hint. So when I saw like that she was the same person as Moira and Jesse from The Walking Dead, I was like, holy crap, that's pretty crazy. But my aha moment this year, because I'm terrible with faces, was when I was on Scarefest TV and we announced Tyler Labine from Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Yeah.
And Wes makes the comment that he loves him in New Amsterdam. And I had just been, even that day, earlier that day, I had just been binge watching New Amsterdam. And I was like, so while Wes is doing the announcement, I Google, like, what role did he play in New Amsterdam? He's one of the main characters, my favorite main character. And I literally just started screaming. I was like, he's Iggy from New Amsterdam? Like, how did I not make that connection? I just watched Tucker and Dale versus Evil, and I had no idea it was him. Now that I know, it's so painfully obvious. But before, I didn't realize it at all.
He's in a fantastic show that James and I absolutely love that didn't last long, with Ray Wise, who was also been to Comic-Con, called Reaper, where he is where they
he's basically the friend of the kid that's going to be
who has to work for the devil.
Oh wow.
It's a fantastic show. Fantastic. Only lasted less than 2 seasons.
But just to give you a sense of the flavor of that show, which he would be another one I'd love to talk about. The Portal to Hell. If I misremember, Joe, correct me, but it's the DMV, right? because that
Probably.
would
That
be
sounds right. It's been a while since I've
that
watched.
would be how you would have to connect.
Right,
Yeah.
Reaper. Yeah. Well, okay. So those are some of the big guests. Did you, Adrienne? You said Taylor Labine. Is that the one you're really excited about?
Tyler Labine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have him. I mean, there's so many good guests this year that I'm just absolutely stoked to have. Of course, some of our returning guests I'm very, very happy to have back. Ken Forey, super stoked.
He's a
Ken,
fantastic
Robert,
storyteller too.
yeah, and just one of the nicest, most genuine,
Yeah.
like stupidly humble people you could ever meet. Ken is great. Like I said, Bill and Robert, glad to have them back. Kane, RA, and Steve, love having them. Felissa every year. But as far as like, I don't know, yeah, I'm really excited about Tyler Labine. Like, I think that probably of everybody that we've got, Tyler and David are probably up there. Eight-Legged Freaks was absolutely one of my top favorite movies. I've got to go back and watch it. I have a copy of it behind me, but
I saw that in theaters. I love that movie.
It came out in the
when
late
she was
90s?
a fetus.
Yeah.
No, it was after.
Yeah, I would say it would have been. It would. I was in.
It was 2002.
Yeah, I was gonna say I hadn't graduated college yet, but I was close. I knew that.
I had graduated college.
I was, depending on which side of the year it was, I was 11 or 12 when it came out.
And
but
she was a fetus.
I have always loved creepy crawlies, spiders, snakes, anything that scares other people was totally my bag. So when that came out, I was like, heck yeah. And I loved watching that movie. But as far as other things that we haven't talked about besides, the guest list is stellar. We do have a few things that we still do have tickets for. We've got a couple of classes. I mentioned earlier, the kids classes, but we do have on Friday, we've got introduction to cosplay prosthetics, and we have a cookie decorating class. And then on Saturday, we have intermediate cosplay prosthetics, and you don't have to go to the beginner class to go to the intermediate class. But the Rob Whalen that's putting that on, he does these classes at conventions. Typically something like this would cost a couple $100s to go to. And it's $10, I think, 10 or $15 for that class. So again, we had to pay to rent the rooms, just trying to recoup some money on that. But those, and then we also have right now we only have one. We were hoping to get a couple other specialty like Scarefest items this year, but one of the artists that we were working with has just gotten so slammed. I don't think we're going to be able to get anything from him, but we were able to get sledgehammers. So they're props. They're not real. They're really lightweight, but they are the Kemper Kill sledgehammer prop. And each one of them is signed and numbered 1 to 50. It's a limited run by Brett Wagner. So I think we're about half sold out on those, and they will sell out before the show. They're super cool. Brandon got one early to go to the trophy place and have the plaque fitted to see how it would look. And when we were doing Scarefest TV to announce those sledgehammers, he was just sitting there with it on his knee, and he kept like playing with it, talking about it. And I'm like, Brandon, there's a graphic on the screen. No one can see you right now. And he's like, well, I'm just going to hold it. And I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, he held on to that hammer for like 20 or 30 minutes. He just wouldn't put it down. So pretty cool, as a display piece or a cosplay prop. But yep, so we've got those. And I think that is about it. We do have one other thing, and that is the illusionist. Reed is coming back, but he is doing a full show this time. He'll be set up in a room, and we've got those tickets on sale for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Cool. Can I do a quick mention of one more guest that I feel as again, going back to my sci-fi nerd references, I've got to give one shout out. You all have Clint Howard coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Clint Howard.
I forgot about Clint Howard.
Clint Howard, I have to mention because he may hold the record now for having the longest time between Star Trek appearances, because he appeared in the Corbomite maneuver in the original series in the 1960s, and he just appeared in Strange New Worlds, the current series, obviously playing a
Oh.
very different character earlier this year.
Really?
Which is about a 62 years time between appearing in a science fiction series. Not a bad thing. Pointing it out though, because yeah, he appeared originally in the original series. He was 3 years old.
I was about to say, because that doesn't make a lot of sense, because I was just looking, because I was trying to remember something, but yeah, he was born in 59.
Yeah, he was 3 or 4 years old when he appeared in the original series of Star Trek.
Yep.
It was a twist ending
Cool.
episode. But that being said, honestly, I was sitting there and I was like, that is it. Again, if you're a Star Trek fan, there's an autograph to get, because he may hold the record. I don't know many other actors that can say they appeared in Star Trek different series 60
That
years
far
apart.
apart.
That's I mean, he's got to be the record holder for that. So I saw Clint Howard. I immediately again went geeky Star Trek guy and went, ooh.
Can you see this? Look at that. That's him.
Yep.
Yep.
That is so cute, on the Andy Griffith Show.
Yep. He played
No,
Leon, I don't want your sandwich. The little boy who keeps offering Barney a peanut butter sandwich. It's Clint Howard.
Yep.
There's
so I just had to give credit Clint Howard again. If you're a science fiction fan, as well as horror, obviously, because he did lots of horror. But Clint Howard has been in everything, and you should totally go meet Clint Howard.
I forgot.
Yeah,
Howard. I can't believe I forgot about Clint Howard, because
that's why you failed, Joe.
I've never met him either.
I was gonna say, and honestly, like, when I've been doing some interviews and talking about things, and I try to talk about, like a lot of the events and the schedules and things like that, and it's hard because I forget things, not because I don't know them, but because like maybe I just talked about them on an interview this morning or something like that. And I always try to like bring it around to different guests. But I mean, we've got over 80 announced people for this year.
That's the biggest lineup ever.
I've been scrolling. I mean, look at this. I'm scrolling as fast as and it's screens and screens. You've got Dylan McDermott. You've got it's an embarrassment of riches.
I was gonna say, Dylan, having Tom Savini. I mean, like, we haven't even mentioned Tom Savini, like Adrienne Barbeau, the final girls lineup that we have, like, but it's all on the website. Go check out the guest list, because we could talk about it for 6 hours at minimum. Just, the people that are coming, the things they've been in.
Well, and I'll throw out one more thing. Check out the guest list also if you're a fan of video games, because you've got a lot of the people that have work and things like that for video games. One more name that I'll mention as my sci-fi geeking self, Chad Coleman.
Yes.
And the Orville. I love the Orville show. Obviously, he's in Walking Dead, and speaking of video games, Left 4 Dead 2, he's in it. But honestly, it's like the Orville, science fiction geek happy. And so again, I just, like you said, we could go through the entire list, but it would take well into the AM time period as we sit here and record in the evening. But yeah, check out the list, because I guarantee you there's going to be somebody on there that you're going to geek about.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, guys. What'd you say?
I said, what else do you want to talk about? Is that it?
I mean, we've been an hour. I want to give you time back.
No, I get it.
You've been more than gracious. Actually, you and I have been talking for an hour and a half.
Yes, we have, because somebody was late.
Yeah,
because I have to keep my job until I get tenure. Next year, I'll blow everything off and be here.
Scarefest, still tickets available. Saturday's going to sell out, so get your Saturday tickets.
Yes.
Saturday's going to sell out. And that's amazing that we're going to sell out Saturday, but it's going to sell out. Get your tickets, get them close. And the only other thing that I want you to buy your tickets, bro, go ahead and get the weekend. Bonehead Live, Friday at 5. Sorry.
Too late will be the cry when the tickets pass you by.
That's right.
Too late. All right. This has been Bonehead Weekly. Thank you so much, Adrienne. We appreciate it.
Thank you all for having me.
Brrr.